Record the computer. All right. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for joining May's Town Hall gathering for King's Counsel Trust Family Office, where we connect people for one purpose. And I am excited. Let me see if I can get my PowerPoint to work correctly this way. Many of you are already involved. If you're brand new, thank you so much for joining us today. We have a great treat in store today, so we're grateful that you're here. Please feel free to use the chat if there's questions, comments, if there's things you like. That engagement really means a lot. We love to see how things are landing. Here are some of the services that the family office offers, and many of you I know are involved, or if you're not and you want to know more, we have the contact form, kctfo.com/contact us, and there's a drop down that you can actually click to learn a little bit more. Today we're going to just briefly highlight the mission and vision. This is a great way where we come together and really align with why we're here together. We're going to be talking about a special topic of ready to receive. Really excited to learn more about that. Are you guys all ready to receive or wanting to learn to be ready to receive? Cheryl's like, yes, pick me. Then we're going to be doing a breakout session for networking and collaboration and opening it up for Q&A. Please don't wait till the end though. If you have a question, put it in the chat, because if Dale's talking or Larry's talking or Cheryl's talking or somebody's sharing, if we're able to see that and answer it right then, we'd love to know. So here's our mission and vision. I'm going to pause just for a moment so that we can read that. And if you don't mind, put in the chat something that stands out for you. I'm with you, Larry, sharing good news. I also, today standing out for me is the prospering together. Gain what you can never lose. Thank you, Aaron. Impact. Beautiful. Thank you for playing. Before we get into today's agenda, I just wanted to highlight that we have, real quick, I know sometimes on this screen, it will do a black box over things. Can you guys see the PowerPoint clear? You don't see it? Okay, great. So we have our very special rededication event. I know some of you may have to leave early today, so I wanted to make sure that you capture this. This is the QR code to be able to register. We are doing a rededication. Dale, do you want to talk just for a moment about that before we move to the next thing to inspire people to play?
Well, what it looks like is this. Sometime between Resurrection Sunday and Pentecost, there was this anticipation of, what was Jesus talking about when he said he was going to send a helper? What do we have to do? Is there anything else that we've yet to accomplish? For us, that means a lot. We're going to get into some of those things, but mostly the underlying theme is ready to receive. Are we in that place? Have we done all that we can do? And as an organization, well, what does that look like? It might be as an individual or as a family, we do certain things, but how does that work out for us? So what we're really hoping for in this springtime demonstration, and we really hope you like what you see when that happens, because that's when we're going to, hey, here's our baby, and give it back to the Lord. Kind of like the Lion King, my son, is say this is how we do it. So there's no pride in authorship here. This is really to be the demonstration of what we're doing individually, organizationally, as a family, and as community to get back on track, to course correct, get our GPS realigned, and do what we're here to do. So more on that to come. Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you so much. And I'm super excited to be on this journey. I love the aspect of this, of really looking at what's working, what hasn't been working, where do I want to recommit and rededicate. So really excited about that. So you just heard from our founder and managing director, tagged as a financial futurist, really having the foresight for enacting this new global system. He's also known as the financial I'm sorry, I have this thing blocking it, financial cash flow architect. And really bringing in this intentional cooperative community where we're working together to navigate what's happening in the world. And the biggest thing that well, there's so many big things I'm attracted to, but the key part, if you haven't caught this, is affluence is no longer reserved for the financial elite. Everyone has an equal opportunity to participate. And so thank you for getting us involved in these pieces. Aaron, you get to stand out today, it looks like. For those of you that it looks like the font's a little off. We have our Thomas. Thomas, do you mind saying hi real quick? And maybe your part, I'm sorry, I'm trying to navigate this. If you could just say a moment of why you love KCT.
Well, I've been with KCT for a little over a decade. It's been the most unanticipated adventure that I didn't know I was engaging in, but I leaned in and I kept leaning in and I keep leaning in, and I keep realizing just how little I know, or what I thought I knew. Pretty much everything I thought I knew, I've come to learn that I've learned incorrectly. So I had to do a lot of unlearning. And I think perhaps a lot of people will find that everything that you felt like you were led to believe, whether through schools or through parents, all who loved us and cared for us, they only are telling you a part of the story. So there's a lot more to the kingdom than I think most people can't even begin to scratch the surface about what does it really mean to be in an honor economic economy, and is there even a different choice than the economy that we all grew up in? The buy and sell economy is the economy we all were led to believe it exists. There is another economy, give and receive. So if you want to learn about that economy, keep leaning in.
Thank you, Thomas. And Aaron, you do make us stand out. Do you care to share what you love about KCT?
I love what Thomas just said, and I love the, really the mentality behind the honor economy and the give and take back and forth between all parties that are involved. It just from a heart-centered space, it's really what makes me tick. At the end of the day, it's that relationship that's formed, it's the trust that's formed, it's the connections that are formed, way more than, did you sign your name on the bottom of the line? Did you get that document back to me? Did you right? Like the hardcore legality, sign on the dotted line, that's so restrictive. I think I'm so leaning into this. I'm new since last summer to King's Counsel, and it's so refreshing. Like, it's just very, very refreshing, this thought process and this mentality. So I'm very new with this thought. Thomas has 11 and a half years on me working into this learning process and this learning curve, and I'm still leaning in, and I'm leaning in hard, and I like it a lot.
Thank you. And the cash flow whisperer, Larry.
Yes, it's a great place that I've found to contribute a few of my skills and gifts, learn a lot more things, and to share willingly and openly with others and community. It's what it's meant to be, I believe, that God created. So thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. I know this wasn't scripted. Thank you for
No,
playing
it wasn't.
along.
That's all right. I love it. I love the spontaneity of it. I was thinking what Thomas came out of the gate saying. I was thinking, yeah, it's kind of like, it's the thing I never knew I always wanted, right? Like, and I'm here and getting to be a part of it. And one of the things that I think for Aaron and I both, we came in at the same time. Karen introduced us, who's also on this call. And, it was the covenant versus contract. And it's just interesting how that has just been so meaningful to us in terms of how it is we get to do, right? Like, and I love when Dale talks about how we're not here to fight old systems, we're here to create new ones. And in reality, this isn't new, it's actually old, right? It's actually it brought forward from what used to be and got lost in the mix of everything that's going on. And now we get to step back into that. And Aaron and I were on a call the other day with George, origin. He's from Greece. And he said to me, you know, he said, when I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do something. He said, the truth is my word is more important than my signature. And I thought that's exactly what this is about, right? It's your word, it's your integrity, and it's the relationships. And so, yeah, Aaron and I both have just really leaned into this and love that we get to be a part of what King's Counsel is and what it's creating, and the new pathways that it's creating for everyone.
Thank you. Yeah, and I love the community aspect, and I love that we have this global impact, that we have so much separation in the world, and that we get to come here and be the bridge builder, both economically, both in business and with resources. And so thank you. Joshua's with us today.
Do you want me to say something?
Yeah, what you love about KCT, or what brought you here, or you can pass. This is spontaneous. So.
Oh, are you kidding me? Me give up a microphone? Who do you think you're talking to? No, for me, I have a different perspective than, I think, not different perspective, but the way that I see this community, for me, I've always been alone, independent, never really worked well with other people. And I've not really fit into most systems that I've tried to fit into. And so that's been a challenge, and you can't really accomplish anything that I believe that you're created to accomplish without a group of people. And so that's very challenging for someone like me, because I have a big vision and a big dream, and I don't exactly fit into most systems. That said, my heart has always been to serve and to use my gifts and talents to be a blessing to others. That's all I really at my core want to do. And when I found out about Kings, it was a very, very unusual situation how I was even brought into this fold. But without going into that, I will say for me, it was a dream to get to be around other strong leaders who just wanted to do what they're good at. I mean, mind you, they'll do other things, but they typically stay in their lane. But they also want other people to come in and to do their part, stay in their lane, and just do their job in excellence. I've never met a system or an ecosystem or any other group of people like that. So for me to be able to step in and just say, this is what I can do, and then get to do it, that's a dream come true for me, because I know I can't do what I want to do alone. And life is more fun when you're surrounded by other like-minded people. But that also feels good when we get to exercise our gifts and our talents. And when our gifts and talents are not about us, they're about other people. And when you get to use that for other people, that feels good. So everything about this ecosystem feels good. It feels comfortable. It feels like that blanket you want to put on after a long day, or whatever it is for you. If the cocktail at night, or the cigar, or whatever it is. For me, that's what it feels like. It feels like a warm blanket. I'm safe, I'm comfortable, and I just get to enjoy life. That's what Kings has done for me. The money and all that other stuff, of course, it's great. You can't do much without money. But then again, Kings also proves that you can do a lot with, you don't need money. You can use your time and treasure or talents, and you can fit in and make something happen. So that feels good. So everything about this feels good. It feels good when you put in effort into something and then it moves forward. I don't know about you all, but have you ever done anything where you put your whole effort and your whole heart into something and then it goes nowhere? That's what I've felt like with most of my life and most of the things that I've done. With this group, things move and move forward. And to do that with people that are like-minded and have a heart for humanity feels pretty dadgum good. So that's why I'm here. That's why I'm engaged, and that's why I'm not going anywhere.
Thank you, Joshua. And Dale.
Me?
Now I'm turning it over to you. We're going to talk about who's that?
Well, what we're going to cover here isn't so much what I have to share today, as what we collectively mean ready to receive. And because we've got a few project principals here, I'll just call out a few. Cheryl, if you care to give a voice. Mark, Janice, you're on the line if you also care to give a voice. Starting one way, kind of in the middle where you are in that context. in some of the slides next, we'll conventionally, we want to meet people where they're at. So it's important that we're using everyday language. So we'll talk about it in just a holistic, more of a general sense, ready to receive. And from the slide here, you can kind of get a sense of what that definition means. But one of the big things that sets us apart before we deal with rewards is our relationship, especially with God our Father. And so we're also going to get into it and talk about 5 specific things that set us apart in terms of applying our faith in the marketplace and what that means to be ready to receive. Because one thing I can tell from my personal fast, and when I started this early in the spring, we knew that God was doing a new thing. But does everybody know that, God makes all things new? I don't know about you, but it's both in the Old and the New Testament. And there's, one word after another where there's always this newness. It's a letting go of the former things in favor of the better things. We can only hold so much in our hand, our heart, our head. And this we've learned that when it comes to adding value to the life of another, until and unless we're almost coming to the place where we're empty, it's really kind of difficult to fill up any more in that container if they're already full of themselves. So with that, Shannon, if you wouldn't mind just kind of moving a couple things along, I'll comment. And Thomas and Larry, especially in this portion right after the definition, if you wouldn't mind adding a few cents, or I should say cents aren't worth anything these days, a few bucks to hear, and also let everybody know, what do we mean by ready to receive? Joshua, thank you for pointing that out. There's this thing about a wallet that we've been talking about, and if you'll wait until the end, I've got a really special announcement about it, and a reward for those that make it to the end in terms of they've gotten their stuff ready. But more to come on that. Shannon, if you wouldn't mind, there was a couple of things I know that when you were putting this together, you highlighted a few things. Would you mind, from your perspective, you're feeling something, you might not have exactly, what that is or why that is, but you just know in your knower that you're supposed to be here. That would mean a lot to me too, and for you to share with the group.
You have me to share now or Larry first?
Go ahead with your underlined items.
Oh, it's my underlined item. Thank you. So what I loved about pulling this together, thank you, Dale, and I'm excited about what, this first part is kind of what it means to be ready to receive, but then there's also the biblical piece, and to really see and do that personal inventory of where am I at, right? Like I kind of highlighted and underlined these, you see humility, willingness to learn and grow, where are those edges that might be holding me back from being ready to receive. So thank you, Dale. I see this as a great opportunity to do that self-reflection, kind of like a checklist of like, is this a muscle I need to strengthen, or is this something that I'm pretty strong at?
Now I feel like I've got my team. And it's like, well, no, those other 2 teams were yours too.
Russ, if you can mute, I'm trying to mute. Oh, there we go. Thank you. So anyways, hopefully today you'll find places that that you can connect with easily. Dale, you're muted.
Larry or Thomas, on this particular slide, it's great to have knowledge, but and those that say knowledge is power, they're full of crap. Candidly, because the definition of power implies that there's some motion, and we know that there's something really much more important than just a good word, some knowledge. But before we move on to the next,
I would say, I would just add, knowledge takes second place to wisdom. So I've heard it said, tomatoes are a fruit, or I say tomatoes are. Now I got myself confused. Is tomatoes it's a fruit, but you don't put tomatoes in a chicken salad. I mean, where do you put the tomato? It makes a difference. So being able to connect the dots correctly, everyone can connect dots, but connect them in the right order and you get a different picture, get a different outcome. So
for me personally, the concept getting ready to receive is something that I've worked with my whole work career, as primarily as a commercial lender and then as a fractional CFO to help owners get ready to receive whatever it is they want or need. And the importance of that is I think illustrated by two Greek words that both mean receive, but one of them means like receiving a letter. You just receive it, hey, ho hum, that's okay. The second word in the Greek is a little more important, and I think it really applies here for us in King's Counsel, is that I apologize for using a football analogy, but it's like a wide receiver in football receiving the ball, making a catch. But then when they do that, they turn and go towards the goal, go to score a touchdown. They take action. And so from the key part here for me is that we want to help one another receive and then take action. And that's, to me, a critical part to this, and the fun part that we have distinguished, I believe, from other types of situations that maybe talk about receiving. So,
Thank you, sir. The operative word I loved in your last statement there was "and." Not an either or, but it's an "and." So before we get onto this, and as you're kind of contemplating on this just a little bit, Cheryl or Mark, no requirement, not necessarily any order there, but from your perspective, both coming in fresh with a project last year, I'm pretty sure that neither one of you had any idea what you were getting into. And what is that kind of process, as short as it was, what does that mean to you? Somebody like Russ here, he's just kind of kicking the tires. And David, now he's got another group over in Africa that's beginning to look at what we're doing, how we're doing. What would you want to impart before they begin this engagement process with a project, per se, in getting their house in order and getting ready to receive?
Yeah, if you don't mind, this is Mark. Do you mind if I jump in here?
By all means.
Yeah. So one of the important things about this is just the way that you look at funding, the way that you look at creating a business, but the most important part is how you're actually giving back as well. We don't deserve success unless we also give back some way. And the way that this works with the funding and giving back, it really makes you think, okay, what's the reason why I'm doing this? Is it for profit? And if it's for profit, anyone can go out and start a business and do that. And that's not really what you want to do. But is it for profit so that you can also give back, so that you could have a multi-tiered effect on people that live in the area? Like specifically for my project, which is one of the things that I love about, is we have such a need of low-income housing in this area that built a coalition of people that want to help get grants and get funding and everything else. But I can't do that without also getting my project off the ground. But it was how you think about it, how you do it, and make sure that you've always got that end goal, that going towards a goal is giving back. It's not for me. It's how can I give back to impact other people's lives without them even knowing about it? And that was, for me, it was great to look at that as a completely different perspective, not as zeros and ones, not as black and red on the bottom line, but what's the impact of giving back? So for me, that was the most important thing.
Thank you, sir. You just said it again. It was your "and" approach.
Yeah.
It was doing well, but it was and also doing some good for others in the same time. Cheryl, anything to add at this point?
I think it is similar in that, we're looking at our model and we're going, daggone it, we can just duplicate so much of what King's Counsel just brought forward for us, right? And that's the ripple effect. And so it's beautiful because you start talking about, yes, we're in a royalty sharing relationship and we've stepped into this, and no, we had no idea what we were getting into, but man, what a journey. And then what's beautiful is you can take that same journey and go, now, how do we pay that forward? and create an even bigger ripple. And guess what? We teach them how to do the same thing, and they create the next ripple. And it really just keeps going. And I think that is the exciting piece. And watching that unfold, and it has been, the journey has taken longer than we expected, but the gift in that has been how much more prepared we are when it does come. And I said this the other day in the group, but just like when you're on God's time, you wait differently. And I think it's been in that space that, you can see the blessings that have actually unfolded as a result of the timing of everything and how it's actually happened. So, obviously it's a beautiful process.
Fantastic. One word you threw in there for the sake of everyone else that may be new or come back and listen to this video as an introduction. These town halls are really designed for the general, as it were, communicate with the public and who we may know, and our partners that may know someone else and bring someone along. One of those things is when you talk about a royalty-based relationship. Interestingly enough, if you go Google royalty-based financing, you're not going to find it in the first couple dozen pages or so. It's not a new thing, but it's not that popular, because most of the conventional advice talks about keeping it squarely in the realm of the balance sheet of equity or debt, as the case may be. And to play in that, most people have to be what's referred to as an accredited investor. If you don't know what that means, you're probably not there. If you do know what that means, you've probably had, you show up on a list and a bunch of people call you to basically try to get into your pocket. They could care less about what's in your heart. We've taken an extra step to kind of let everybody know that royalty-based financing is available to everyone that basically has a brain and a heart and is willing to apply what they believe in such a way. We call it intellectual property. We call it personal property. And that's what's great. It's an all-inclusive invitation for people to get involved and show up in some shape or form. People can do stuff. The reason you're raising money is you need to go buy stuff and hire people to do stuff with the things that you just bought. If those people could show up with the stuff that you need to buy and or the type of talent that you need to go hire, do you really need any money? I would contend that you don't. You just haven't figured out how to put them on the team just yet. We can do that. But why royalty-based financing? I'm just going to rattle off 10 things that you're going to wish you had written down, but this is recorded. You won't come back and listen to why we like it. It's non-dilutive. If you've ever raised money in an equity debt situation, you know how important that one phrase is. It's no fixed repayment schedule. When banks lend, they don't care if you're making money or not. They have it would in fact insist that they've got an interest reserve. So while you're not making money, you can still pay back the bank. We like the royalty-based financing approach because what it really does is it aligns what is a traditional investor more with the principles and the companies coming together. We call that co-vesting. It's like cooperating. It's creating community. There's a lot of stuff going on. Interestingly enough, there's a lot of legislation on the books that doesn't like cooperation. I don't know if you know that or not. Cooperative is not a very popular model. It goes back to the last century, where all of the great industrialists were getting together, and the government was more concerned that they were actually getting done together, price fixing, taking advantage of people. So there's a lot of that anti-Sherman, as it were, cooperative stuff. You're not supposed to do that. It's not a good idea. Interestingly enough, that's a lot of what goes on in Washington these days, but never mind that. In the end, if you know you're going to be raising money, there's a cost to that capital. And it's one of the lowest forms of capital development that you could possibly employ. And I mean, if you're going to be a good steward, why would you go to the more expensive ways? Or maybe you just don't care. In the end of the day, there's no collateral requirement. It's a contingent liability against future cash flow. It's like a futures contract in a way. And the only way to participate that is, well, you have to participate. It's not a passive activity, which also means that it doesn't show up on the balance sheet. Accountants can't figure it out. What's a good idea worth? Well, if they can't measure it, they can't put it on the sheet. And that's important because nevertheless, we all know that a good idea is a good idea. But since a very young age, we've all been taught about how to monetize everything, that everything has to be reduced to dollars and cents. And I would insist that it doesn't. I don't need $5 from you to give you a hug or to share a cigar or a good meal, as the case may be. I'm not even thinking money when it comes to sharing what I have. I don't need anything from you. I get to give it. Whether you want it or not, that's on you. I hope that you do. It's great to be able to honor you, but if you choose not to, that's okay, because there's the thing. It's not a contract. If then that. We're going to do it because we get to do it and we enjoy doing it. And so that's what's nice about it, because while the idea that royalty, the intellectual property, is valuable, it's a function of future cash flow and revenue. If there is none, there's no requirement for repayment whatsoever, because that wasn't the basis of the relationship. I'm going to give it our best. But if your best isn't good enough, it's because it doesn't meet the requirements. Well, then we all knew that going in. That's an important thing, because giving your best doesn't mean it's good enough. If some other requirement is there and best isn't getting the job done, everyone loses. Doing things in the way of the kingdom is more like a championship than it is a singles match in say golf or tennis, as the case may be. The other good thing we like about this is not designed to go on in perpetuity as much as it is provide a limited duration. It's like training and equipping. Well, when we're done, we expect you to kind of get out there and go rinse, lather, repeat. We heard from Cheryl about how there's this next iteration, this ripple effect. What we really like about it now, and it's interesting how AI is showing up in the marketplace, is that we don't have the time to once test what we used to think could work. And as a result, the archaic systems of crony capitalism, where you got to go get an idea and get an attorney and wrap it around a bunch of blue sky, protections and other regulations and fees and da. I'm sorry, AI is writing faster than you can read these days. What's an idea worth if it takes 3, 6, 9 months and someone else has already figured it out? We need better tools, better systems, and resources with which to be able to get these things done. And I would insist that royalty-based financing is a faster, much more efficient funding process than anything else that you could hear about from your attorney or your CPA. They don't know what they don't know. Their job is to keep you in the box. I'm going to suggest that there isn't a box. We've all been told that there's a box. Is there really a box? I wouldn't want to live in a box. Anyhow, what's neat about that, though, is it's flexible. At the end of it, no one's got a crystal ball. Things are going to shift. And so to be able to build redemption and other types of flexibilities or assignments in a royalty-based approach is really what's important, because again, we're talking about attracting the right kind of people. The right kind of people are going to be shift and pivot and so on and so forth. And that's exciting. The ones that are just tell me what I need to do. No, the ones that want to get paid, they're not entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs really want to impact the world. They know that if they do that well, they'll get paid. Employees just want to get paid whether they impact the world or not. That's 70% of the people we're going to meet. I get it. You can't save them all. We're not supposed to. Are we okay with the fact that 7 out of 10 are probably going to fall away? There's this thing in the Bible, especially in Revelation, that talks about the remnant. The remnant isn't all of them. The remnant is what's left over after everyone gets sifted. We've already seen what pandemic has done to this country and how they're beginning to sift out people. Really a lot of smart people too that really claim to believe, but they still got vaccinated. Not even thinking about it, not even testing, not even reading if there was any instructions in the box or the shot that they got. Many shots came with no instructions and they still blindly took it. guys, are we going to continue to do capital and projects in community the same way we've done? The last thing is, we like about royalty-based financing, it's not reserved for the top 1-2% elite. This is everyone. It's an open invitation. How would you like to get involved and make a difference in the world? And to the degree that you do, you can be rewarded for your efforts. Stop selling yourself by the hour. Sell yourself by the value that you create, and have the fortitude to stick it out to the end and be fully rewarded, compensated for what you're truly worth. I invite you all, if you're still working by the hour, stop. Don't take my word for it. Go back and read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Rule number 1 of the wealthy: they don't work for money. Hell, I get a little excited about this topic. I want to pause here. Requirements, they're all good. Like knowledge, it's just the beginning. Next item, Shannon. Action. What are you doing with what's in your hand today? What are you going to do as a result of listening in and participating in today here? Thomas, Larry, if you care to add any more about an action, and or Shannon yourself, you underlined a few things here. Why did those things stand out for you versus, say, some of the rest?
Thomas and Larry, can they go first?
Hit it.
Oh, I just love the open heart, open mind. I think our openness really, what we have in our world and in our life is based upon how open we are to receive, and really unlearning some of the things that we've learned. So I really think that that's important, and being present. That's the other piece that I really like with each one of you that I have the opportunity to be with, is when you show up, you're fully present to what's happening in that moment.
Yeah, I would say action begets a result. And if you don't like your result, take a different action. So the experience comes with doing something. Just like the GPS, it doesn't work if you're standing still.
Action brings clarity.
All right. In the biblical context, before we get into breakout rooms, if we could hit on these, just pause on a couple of them. I would like to highlight 5 different things. And when we get into breakouts, if you could hit on one of those things, Shannon will explain a little bit more about what that means when we get there, and to get into a little bit group today. But again, we're taking a moment to define this. Doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It's just from our perspective, when we're talking about getting to receive in a biblical context, are we open to receive what Dad's telling us? Most of us are more interested in building our kingdoms than his. Part of my testimony, a lot of you know that I was very adamant about restoring a certain lifestyle that I had a long time ago. And the shortest way I knew how to do that was getting involved in finance. But work for a big wirehouse was go, 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 go. And things were doing pretty well, mind you. And a number of folks came into my life and said otherwise. And don't you know, I had the confidence, because I truly believed that I've never really been one to be short on faith, to truly believe. And it was beautiful. It was just like, son, you're doing a great job climbing the ladder. You just got your ladder on the wrong house. Come build my house. It's like, well, it's classic. You can be on the right road, just facing the wrong direction. Good luck with that. So movement implies that we can have those markers, that perspective, those indicators that can help us tell us whether or not we're moving in the right direction at the right pace, and so on and so forth, or we need to shift. I mean, when GPS doesn't tell you if you missed a turn, no, you dumbass. It's very nice and a nice gentle voice, depending on how you like the voice. I kind of like the Australian sound lady myself. How she's like, having a good time. Anyhow, I think we all can agree that pretty simple definition with the first point, the next one, Shannon, faith. If you can see it to believe it, I'll just say there's not a lot of faith required to that, especially when it comes to the sight of our eyes. And most of what we claim to believe as a result of that is, unfortunately, we're just fooling ourselves. But just consider that. That's one, faith. Repentance. The really interesting thing is this is not so much about others as it is self. As we recognize, oh crap, with all of my assumptions, this is what it got to me, and well, it's not working for me. I need to shift. I need to stop. I need to divest myself of this activity. It's three parts: repentance. I need to shift, and then I need to re-engage in another direction, another action, as the case may be. To apply the same assumptions over and over again is only going to lead me, chances are, to the same result. Most of us, if you're here, for whatever reason, you can't insist that, you're going to keep doing things the way you've been done and expect a different result. Next item.
All right, hold on.
I've learned the most from myself, the couple things for humility. Number one, generosity is that ability to kind of be always giving is a nice reminder of when I was in a position that I couldn't give. I didn't have a lot to give. I didn't have extra. So that's one. The other thing is I make a lot of mistakes. And I found that the faster I make mistakes, the faster I learn. And the more that I learn and the more that I know, it's like, my God, I'm learning that there's a lot I don't know. And so if we've arrived at a place where we think we're all that in a bag of chips, as they say, boy, oh boy, are we deceiving ourselves. But essential to recognize in our emptiness and our dirtiness and our perfecting process, man, we could use a lot more. Are we there to come to King's Counsel without the ability, the wherewithal? This is men, you're guilty of this more often than women, is to even ask for help. Most of us don't want to ask for directions. We don't want to read instructions or directions. We just want to take a shot at see if we can put it together right out of the box, or we can go take a trip somewhere and somehow miraculously end up there. Humility is one of the essential elements for any coming to King's Counsel. If you're going to last and stick around, this one is a big one. Next one. Ooh, yeah, we actually have to do something. Cheryl and Mark both know that it's great to have a 2-pager. It's great to have your new shift on outlook on numbers. Then there's this whole list of other things, like all these other things that are going to need to get done. And more to the point, you recognize real quickly, you can't do them all yourself. So who else is with you? And more to the point, what are you doing? Because if we're waiting on the money, so-called, before we do it, that's no different than the employee mindset. This is what it is to be in the United States of America, the otherwise known as the corporate orphanage. Is most of us have this entitlement attitude that we need to get paid first before we show up and do something or create value or love somebody or do anything significant for anyone else. Most of us are so selfish. We're pretty lazy. And as a result, I wonder where we're at. Next item, gratitude. It's one of my favorites, in fact, because again, it gets back to humility in that sense that, man, I did myself start at a pretty nasty place. I was born into, as it were, whether you like this concept or not, we're all born into original sin. You don't have to teach a kid how to be selfish. They just are. And it's not until someone loves us enough, not because we deserve it. That's performance-based love. We know that contractual phileo love just doesn't work. It's not sustainable. That there's something else when we develop spiritually that it doesn't matter what the other party does. We get to give because it's good. We know that it's right. And even greater than that, we give because God says so. And if we're listening, we're going to be sometimes in the middle of driving down the street and it's pull off and walk into a 7-Eleven and buy somebody a sandwich. We're not going to understand it, but are we paying attention? And it's that gratitude, because recognize, I don't know about you, I've been there when someone called me out of a crowd, didn't know me from Adam, and did the same for me. We love because we were first once loved unconditionally. And I think gratitude, at least for myself, is one of the best ways that we can show up and demonstrate God's grace, God's love for us and each of us, where we respectively work, live, work, worship, and play. So with that, as we get into breakouts, which one of those 5 stood out for you? That'd be interesting to see how we come back from that with the time that we have left. Shannon?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Quick question. Was that an okay list for everyone? I mean, if we go forward, including that in some of our new curriculum, and is that pretty straightforward? That's what overly complicated? A few nods. Yeah, cool.
Great list.
Right.
Great list. Just got to figure out what it spells. FORHG, forage. What's our acronym going to be? Foraging.
Make it easy to remember. Sure.
Yeah.
We'll work on that. Okay. Thanks.
Gorf.
Beautiful. Okay, so now we get to know and love our neighbor and get to share in self-reflection the pieces that spoke to you. And when you get in the breakout room, please set up a timer just so that we make sure that we honor everybody. Some of them will have 3 people, some will have 4. And so we've got just a couple minutes each. Be certain to share who you are, and know that you can drop your chat or drop your contact information in the chat, so that everybody can get to know you. And really the magic is in the follow-up and what happens afterwards. So I'm setting this for 9 minutes to allow you to get a timekeeper. Any questions about this part before I open the room? Oh, Mark, you're great. All right, here we go. Have fun. Back. I am so glad you're back. Okay, so who wants to share for a moment the takeaway from their group? And if you go to the bottom and you hit reactions, you can actually raise your hand and then it'll pull you to the front. Looks like Karen is mobile.
Karen's
Yeah.
Please let me share.
Yes, please
I'm in
share.
this building, okay? This is, see this? Welcome to Lifetown. Can you see that?
Yeah.
So kids come here and they learn life skills. They can go to the bank, to the library. They ride their little bikes around. They have a pet shop, a movie theater.
That's awesome.
All sponsored by people. We've got the Huntington Bank. So they come in and they get their money and then they go spend their money at the doctor and the dentist and the deli.
And go home broke.
And the pet shop.
And
the
Mark, you
beauty
need
shop.
that in Clemson.
They're not open right now, but this is incredible in Columbus, and the disabled kids can come and learn life skills. And they're building a center next door for drug addiction and stuff. So it's just been an amazing opportunity to work with these amazing people at the and help them do the fundraising. So there'll be more to share. It's so emotional. It's beautiful. So
Cool.
That's awesome.
That's it. So cool.
Super cool.
Beautiful. Anybody else want to share about their breakout room and takeaways on today's talk?
I met Deb. We didn't know each other, so we just said hello, and we're getting to know each other as Dale and Josh popped in. And her purpose in life is to make people laugh and bring joy to their bodies and their life. And I just thought that was awesome that she found where to lean her ladder for the rest of her years.
Beautiful. Thank you, Stuart. Anybody else want to share? Okay, so we're going to open up for Q&A. Just wanted to, kind of highlight this final action step, which is surrendering ourselves to God and allowing him to work in our lives according to his plan and purpose, and requires that deep trust in God's love and faithfulness and willing to follow him wherever he leads us. So Dale, any final remarks before we open it up for Q&A?
Just one. Thank you for making it this far. This is top of the hour. Here's the good news. For those that have been following us, where we've said, hey, for our partners, it's good to go get a wallet. It's good to, this is what we're doing in this alternative asset-backed kind of tokenized, decentralized exchange. We have the first, I'll just say royalty share in the form of a token as a result of the last asset pool being going live, as it were, on the ledger just last Friday. The project principals know that, but our power partners do not. So this is pretty cool. So if you're a partner, a B or a C, and if you don't know what that means, we need to have us contact us in that Monday form. But for those with B's and C's, if you'll drop in your wallet address right now, when this Friday, when it comes time to share, as it were, little walking around money, as I like to call it, each of you B's will get something, and those of you that are C's will get a little bit of something else. And I want to thank you for getting your house in order and being ready to receive, because we expect by the time the rededication little ceremony comes around, there should be a whole lot more. So for those with projects, you know what that means. Asset pool number 3, asset pool number 1 as already, as it were, gone live. We're excited about asset pool number 2 and others that are there. For those of you that have a wallet, you can see what the other asset pools look like. We're involved in all of them. But that's pretty cool. So Stan's there. Thank you, Stan. Anyone else? Cheryl, you got a wallet? This is the time, because if your wallet address is not here today, no reward. This is like ready to receive. So this is like an example of like right now, not next week, right now. Cool. There's more. That's what I like to see. Thomas? Cool. Shannon? Karen? Oh, there's Karen.
I had to remember what email I used because I had more than one account.
Yeah. All right. For those that don't know, I'll make this short and sweet. For those that don't know, this is what we have going on. Why this is important is because up till now, we've been using PEX cards. It's kind of like a Visa debit card thing. Some of you have them, you know what I'm talking about. But we've also run into trouble that in other countries, that's not always the best form of, I'll just say, everyday checkout. Because there's exchange fees, there's internationals fees, there's all sorts of stuff. Some of you legitimately, when you go to want to buy one thing or another thing, they put a hold on your card. Well, that doesn't work either. So this is our vault. We've been working on it a good long time. So anyway, thank you for sharing, everyone. This is the good piece of good news, and thanks for sticking around to the end. And we'll just open it up to any Q&A at this time before we close. And other than that, Shannon, just mention again, if you haven't signed up and or based on what you heard here today, care to share and invite somebody to rededication at the end of the month. It's Friday, the 26th, I believe.
Yes, noon Pacific Standard Time.
Okay. All right. Questions, anyone? That's it. We're done.
How does it get any better than this? That's my question.
Yours.
Stuart had a question.
Yeah, go ahead. Muted, buddy.
Oh, there it goes. Okay. So I've got 3 projects for you. The NIL sports thing. And who do I just talk to? Tom about each of them. And then of course I've got my own. Are you guys going to be doing more of these? What happened in October last year?
Not
Can I-
under the same terms and conditions, but yes, we've always been in encouraging those with a significant asset base to create their own token and to legitimately come together and pull together the capital for what they need in the decentralized format. So the silver situation, like you mentioned, any mine situation, rich in natural resources, depending on whether or not, a lot of those engineering reports and so on and so forth are up to speed. It's really going to be determined at what rate or discount they could effectively get some liquidity for that. But
yeah, the silver is
start,
100 million
it's-
minimum to 1 billion maximum. So that she's already got everything ready to go. So that's going to be pretty quick. I'm just
Yeah.
starting some consulting agreements with her for me, and then I'll bring them in the door. And then NIL1 is this pre-seed. He's this genius from the intelligence community, has basically quantified 20 different things that every sports athlete does for their social media, and where you can search for your product and find out who's the best athlete to take a drink of your drink on TV or be in a video game. Name, image, likeness is basically every football player, league, or every sports athlete as of 2 years ago that's in college can now make money. And this guy's going down and scraping the data off of high school up and comers. So he's going to be the software as a service to get to. So it'd be a great project for all of us to have in the quiver. And then Storyly is the first AI story writing software to help you write your story. And I dropped it in the chat earlier. They are giving $1,000 away if you want to write a story every day for 60 days. You'll get 60 entries, but you can just enter once and still win the money. But they're going to be looking for funding. I've been a part of that collaborative ecosystem is the term that what we're doing here. We're all a collaborative ecosystem, and they're trying to change the world. So we're trying to think of ways to who needs to write a story, your parents or you for your children. If you want to leave, we believe that stories live on the blockchain. So those 3 projects I want to get going, but I'm saying, hey, I need help. I'm humble and full of humility. And I have learned to receive. This old guy said, let me buy you some ribs. I'm like, no, I got it. And he said, Stuart, you need to learn to receive. You're robbing me of a chance to bless you. Everybody's good at giving, but you have to learn to receive. I was like, wow, I apologize. I will receive. So if yes, we all like to give. Thank God you're not greedy, all you folks here, but you have to be get really gut honest. Like the topic of today was so amazing. How really ready, willing, and set are you to actually receive in humility? Because if you want to receive from the Lord, the monkey with the hand in the monkey, he's holding the banana and he gets caught in the trap. If you would just let go of what you have, then you can have something new. And that thing totally hit me today. Repeat, shift, engage, or repent, shift, engage. I've been doing a lot of activity and a lot of it's not working. So I'm going to repent, shift, and re-engage. And what God's called me to is this charity go round, help you find your purpose and destiny, make a page so wealthy people can give to you, in the Share app where we drop all the money in for every person on earth. We all have the same balance, and they can use it to do their purpose and destiny. So that's what I'm supposed to do. I've been vision casting for 6 months. So I definitely need some help from whoever wants to help me make it real. But I feel like it's bringing the kingdom to earth in a tangible fashion. So, I've been talking about it 6 months. It's time to do something. So somebody help me.
Thank you. It sounds really exciting. And what we found, though, is as much as we could want it for others, sometimes the best we could do is just hold the door open for them and let them walk in themselves. We found, no joke, that many times, for whatever reason, folks will hear it. They'll come to the door, but for what they won't fill out their stuff. And more to the point, if they won't fill out your name, they're probably not going to do a 2-pager. They're probably not going to do a video. They're probably not going to do a lot of other things. So put the burden on them to really take the first step and say, count me in, something to that effect. I know that if they answer sincerely, your name's going to be right there, and you'll have an initial call. Thomas will probably be the guy. Larry will step in if there's a money development issue, whatever the case may be. So anyway, those links are in the chat. If you don't know how to save a chat, down at the little bottom is 3 dots. Everyone can kind of save a chat. I've saved the chat. Thanks on all your addresses. At the end of the week, we'll have more to chat about. But in the meantime, thanks for playing, everybody. I'll just do one more question or comment if we care to. I appreciate you being over. It's already 15:15. Just want to be respectful of the time. Anyone?
Yeah,
Anything?
Dale, you mentioned something about debit cards and everything else. Is that something that we can get involved with? Is that an easier way to do everything with King's Counsel?
That's a way. They have a limit, but I'll send you a link specifically. That's typically starts with a partner before they have projects and other things. I know you just came in and kind of like, let's just dump in. I'll figure it out how to swim along the way. But no worries. I'll send you a link for that, and we can get you a card. And that goes for anyone else. If you don't have a card, if you don't know what that is, use the contact us link. From the drop down, select become a power partner, and that's just one of the ways that will make it easier for everyone going forward. You don't have to explain it to them, just point, go tell them what you want, and we'll take it from there. Thank you. Ms. Shannon, closing remarks. Thank you for being our host as always. Did I forget anything?
No, I think it's great. I look forward to seeing everybody at the rededication event. Did everybody get to see the press release about the rededication event? We got featured in,
Yes.
What's that?
Oh, great idea.
I'm gonna grab it really quick to be able to share the link with you, but we did get featured in Market Watch, AP News, a bunch of locations. And so we would love if you would help spread the word, share the press release on your social media, help us have an impact in those that we love and care about. So let me drop that right here if you haven't read it yet. And really excited for the rededication and all that you're doing. And so thank you for being here today.
This, by the way, on top of that, this is really important. In addition, all the projects going forward this year get one press release. It's a part of the honorarium package. Y'all didn't have that before, but we've recognized how important it is, Stuart, to your point, to have a story, to tell your story. You've done all this great work, but you haven't let anybody know about it. That's included.
Nice.
It's just happened for us. I mean, Market Watch, who would have thunk? But, and in 500 some odd other locations, it works. Shannon's got one of her spin-off companies does this. That's all inclusive now. And we're really excited about everyone with projects getting ready to tell their story. Watch what happens when the phone starts ringing. Pretty excited about that.
Awesome. Awesome.
Thank you. All right, everybody, if we don't hear from you until mark your calendars, end of the month, last Friday before we go into Memorial Day weekend. And for those in the meantime, Stuart and others with projects, get your peeps to let us know how best to contact them and get them started. Thank you all, and look for a little something in your walking around wallets at the end of the week. I appreciate you much. Thanks for listening and playing today. Bye for now.
Bye.